There's a way to make an entrance.
This is my destiny.
It was now a conspiracy of witches.
Download Veely today.
I feel a little bit embarrassed.
It's pretty ugly, isn't it?
It generally looks a bit dreary.
It's definitely not a looker.
Across the country, there are people stuck with an embarrassing problem.
You certainly wouldn't drive past and go, I want to live in that house.
It's a very tired house. It feels like it's gone...
And these aren't just the unlucky few. Thousands of us feel burdened with houses that are dated and dreary. But a fresh eye can transform even the ugliest house into a dream home.
I need to make this space exciting to create fantastic drama.
I'm given the owners of some of Britain's ugliest houses, the services of some of our most talented architects.
What I strive for, find the heart of the home, and it's just getting that back, getting the kind of the life and soul back.
With money tight...
I'm not hopeful about what we can get for that 50,000.
And ambitions high, delivering a vision that everyone will be happy with won't be easy.
I do have reservations about this.
For clients, chips away too much of the design. It starts to look very ordinary again.
But if they get it right, it'll prove that great architecture doesn't have to cost the earth.
I actually can't believe that we live in a house like this.
And has the power to transform not just buildings...
It's fulfilled our dreams, really.
...but lives.
It's gone from dark to something wonderful.
It's so different.
Most people want a nice house, and there's nice, and then there's this.
In the 60s, as Britain recovered from post-war austerity, we needed homes like never before. The solution? Street after street of mass housing on enormous new estates.
This estate in Berkshire, like so many others across the country, were built to meet the burgeoning demand for affordable family homes. And they did the job. But one of the problems is they all look the same.
Over 600 homes were built here from just a handful of blueprints. Cheap to build and cheap to buy, they were average homes for the average 60s family. Like this 3-bedroom semi, now home to Rachel and James.
It blends in with everything else. It doesn't have anything that jumps out at you that says, you know, this is where Rachel and James live.
At the risk of offending everybody else on the estate, it's just so ordinary.
And they're not the only residents who feel this way.
But they are fairly square and plain. They're sort of pretty functional, really.
All the bricks look the same, all the hanging tiles look the same, the windows all look the same.
You come onto the estate and you're lost in the maze of houses.
George, are you ready to go?
Mom, get up.
You have to put your Crocs on. Where are your Crocs?
Rachel and James live here with their 2 boys, George 9 and Ted 6.
Where's your helmet? Are you warm enough?
They bought the house 9 years ago, and at £220,000, it was the best they could get in this sought-after area.
In terms of what this house had, it was somewhere that had enough bedrooms. It was in a lovely area.
Yeah, the area. We primarily bought it for the area because it is a really good area.
It is rural with a lot of open space.
See, the daffodils are coming out.
Take Daddy on.
In 2010, teacher Rachel and IT manager James took a 3-year posting to Australia that opened their eyes to a whole new way of living.
Every property that you go in Sydney is different, you know, from each other, and friends of ours live in sort of quirky individual houses.
We were spoiled, weren't we?
We were spoiled because we had a nice big house. It was just huge, and it was mostly open plan, wasn't it? When we came back from Sydney, this felt really small. When people come to stay, it's just a squash.
They added an extension, but it's only made things worse.
We are to blame for that.
Got some funny little bit of side corridor that doesn't go anywhere, and, you know, it could be so much better than it is.
Rachel.
Hi.
Hi. Nice to meet you. How are you, James? You
Hello,
well?
George. Pleased to
Come on
meet
out. Are you well? What's wrong with this house?
It's not big enough for us and just not very exciting.
I suppose one of the things is it looks like every other house on the street, doesn't it?
It does. It's got no individual sort of character.
Why don't you just move to a bigger house?
To be honest with you, we can't afford to move to a 4-bedroom house in this area.
So stay where you are and make it into the home that you really want.
That's right.
It sounds like a good plan to me.
Hopefully, yeah.
Can we go and have a look inside?
Yeah, of
Come
course.
on, lead the way.
Okay.
Why have you got 2 doors, by the way? I've just noticed that. That's quite random. There's a door there and a door there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we've done some internal modifications to give us a little bit more space. It seemed really good on paper, gave us front to back access without going through the rest of the house.
And it was kind of cheap and cheerful at the time when we needed it.
Can we go inside?
Absolutely.
Go, lead the way. After you.
So this is the living room.
It's not too bad. So what are the main problems with the interior spaces?
Because we can't walk straight through from the front there, we sort of, it's just like one big corridor, really, and we just...
You have to go through every room to get to the next one.
Go around. It's just annoying.
The classic 60s layout features a lounge diner, but there's no direct access from the hallway to the kitchen. And the poor circulation on the ground floor is only compounded by the extension to the side of the house.
You come in through the front door,
Yeah.
through the hallway, and the first thing you do is just cut right
Yeah.
around the space, don't you?
Yeah.
To try and get through to the kitchen.
And
So it
it's
is just
awkward.
one corridor.
Yeah.
Can we go and see the kitchen?
Yeah, through like a corridor. And even this bit is
Even
kind of...
this is like a corridor.
Yeah.
It really is, actually. It winds all the way around.
Yeah. So, and again, yeah, so a nice open kitchen that goes to dining is what we would like, really. And then, of course, you've got the ultimate corridor down.
And this is the bit that you kind of infilled
Yeah.
to connect the garage to the main house.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then it just goes on, doesn't it? This really long corridor. We've just done a mini loop. That's mad. You live in a corridor.
And the shortest way to get upstairs is back through the front door.
I shouldn't really laugh about your house, but you kind of in through the door.
Upstairs, there are 3 bedrooms. One for Rachel and James, one for visiting grandparents, and a porky room shared by George and Ted.
Yeah, you can see why they need the extra room. 2 boys squeezed in here in the bunk bed. Bunk bed right up against the window as well. It's a tiny room, actually. And their boys aren't getting any smaller. So what's your budget for the project?
So...
I love that look. That kind of
defer the financial question, yes. We're looking up to 60,000.
OK.
So 60,000 plus a little bit of contingency if we need it.
Is that quite a big commitment for you guys?
Well, it is, because it's a good chunk of extra mortgage repayments each month, but it's, you know, it's manageable.
You've thought it through, haven't you?
It's been a while coming, yes.
You know what? This project is not straightforward at all. It's actually quite a difficult and challenging brief. For just £60,000, Rachel and James not only want to untangle all the problems with their existing home and add more space, but they also want something very unique and distinctive. Now, that's going to take someone with not just a lot of talent, but a lot of imagination too.
I've decided to team Rachel and James up with East London-based architect Ed Lipton, who excels at transforming high-end properties with cutting-edge urban glamour.
So the thing that's great about this house is the sheer scale of it.
Although Ed specialises in multi-million-pound projects, his ethos is very simple.
Architecture is about making spaces that improve people's lives, and also architecture should be playful. I think the work that I produce is distinctive. I am good at bold design. I like to play with colour and the lighting. Architecture gives me the opportunity to change the way people live their lives in a way that they haven't even dreamt of. They start to think differently about the way that they get up in the morning. So that's the original building.
To prove it's possible to create an inspiring home from even the most nondescript house, Ed is volunteering his services to Rachel and James, from design through to the build.
Staircase is where we need it to be. But it's this circulation that we've got to sort out. That meandering through the house, which is just terrible for our client. If we can sort that out, I think they'll just feel much more comfortable in their building because they'll have more space. It will feel like more space.
The total budget is only £60,000, a lot less than Ed's used to working with.
It's actually a very small figure to make a difference. And that's what the challenge is.
We have a slight worry in that he's obviously used to working with huge budgets, and the people that he designs for can afford to kind of do all of these kind of things. We're not necessarily able to do that, so it will be really interesting to see what he does come up with.
I can't wait either, and 2 weeks later, the designs are ready.
Now, you might think that architect's dream of being given a project that's adventurous, being asked to do something very different. But actually, a bold brief can be quite tricky, because if you're too daring, it could put your client off. If you're not daring and inventive enough, they could look for another architect. So I'm wondering whether Ed's managed to strike the right balance.
I feel very good, I feel confident, I think we've got a good scheme to show them. But initially, as soon as I turn that page, I think they probably may get a slight surprise.
As long as it's sort of practical, obviously we've got a family, so it's got to be practical from that point of view.
But, you know, we want something a bit cool.
But we're happy to be a little bit different.
Well, to a point, yeah.
What we have done, it could be a slightly contentious scheme, both from planning perspective and possibly from you. But let's go through the plans first before we show you what it's going to look like.
OK.
So we're talking about giving you a very nice open plan space and then this new extension to give you that additional bedroom that you're looking for.
To revolutionise Rachel and James's house, Ed plans to sweep away the old lounge dining room, creating a bigger hallway that connects to a dining, kitchen, living space running across the back of the house. It's here in a new extension that he's pulling off his first big architectural move. A soaring double-height space that cleverly creates a sense of drama without pushing beyond the small footprint of the house. Ed's second design feature, a mezzanine study area, will look down onto this space and create a connection between the two floors. Upstairs, a fourth bedroom will have its own ensuite bathroom inside a specially built pod. And here, Ed will rely on his final design flourish, colour, to bring a sense of drama. The front of the existing house is unchanged. It's the new extension that will provide the sense of originality that Rachel and James crave, with bright orange window frames, hexagonal cladding, and vertical storage for the family's bikes.
I love the inside. I find that really exciting.
It's certainly very, very different. I think what you've proposed for the layout inside is brilliant.
So what is that finish? I'm dying to know what that finish is on the outside.
So this finish, what we're looking at is roofing felt, shingles, hexagonal.
Like a shed roof?
Yeah.
They've gone quiet.
They've gone quiet. Now, it's actually a very cheap product. It's very low cost per square metre. And then we've included your bike storage on the front because we're going to change your lifestyle here. So we're going to tell you need to go and buy some nice bikes. You need to get some bright, colourful bikes.
Are they just going to get pinched? What do you think?
Certainly not what I envisaged, you know, in terms of the exterior, the plans. Amazing that, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to verbalise.
You love it, I'm
Looks kind of... No, I do. I do. I'm a bit concerned about the bikes on the front.
I can't, at the moment, envisage what the felt tiles are going to look like.
Yes. Colours, are you happy with the colours?
It's certainly very, very different. The orange I'm not 100% set on at the moment.
I don't dislike it, just I need to think it over and look at... And I am concerned about the planners, whether the planners are going to say, it doesn't look like anything else around here, can't have it.
Well, it's a discussion. It's a discussion to be had with the planners. So I'm not worried about that.
You know, it's always interesting to see a client's reaction when you've presented your design. Now, it's pretty clear that Rachel and James love Ed's ideas for the inside of the house, but the outside is a different story. Now, whatever they decide to do, they've got to go through the planning system. So if they don't find some common ground soon and make an application, this build isn't going to start anytime soon.
On a 60s estate in Berkshire, where all the houses look the same, there's one couple who long to break free.
We want a house that's a little bit funky and a little bit quirky and different.
But for Rachel and James, their architect Ed Lipton's design for the exterior is proving a step too far.
I'm a bit nervous because we have had a couple of slight differences with Ed.
They're heading to meet Ed to try and get things moving.
We're trying to get it designed ready in order, really, for us to try and get it done before the winter starts. Hello, we're here to see Ed. Thank you.
I've got to be in a position to get this into planning back end of next week. So I've got to try and get an agreement today so that we can get it signed off.
We really like it, but we're also a little bit twitchy on the
practical side of it.
OK. Right, front elevation. The bikes, do you want the bikes away from the elevation?
Well, secure and
watertight.
Yeah.
I take your point on this. We'll find something else. That's fine. Right, on the felt tiles, I think it works very, very well here.
We want something different. We want something funky, but I don't want to drive up onto the driveway and picture in my head scaly, sort of lizardy snake.
Yeah, you think it's snaky?
It does look a little bit snaky.
I think you're so wrong. Honestly, I think it would look amazing. And even if it's a snake, I mean, we'll call it the snake house.
I don't want a snake house.
If it reminds you of scales, I don't know how I get over that.
It's so hard to know.
OK. Let's not use the felt. Yeah. We've got to move to the next type of cladding, which would then be a square tile. Are you sure? Do you feel resolved or not?
Yes, let's do it.
OK.
We've come out of the end of it far more reassured. I think we're going to try and get it into planning within the next sort of week or so.
But getting the planners on board isn't as straightforward as they'd hoped. 2 months on, they've had some bad news.
Planners have come back with a refusal.
They don't like the design. But I think their objection is that you've got this big bonk extension and it's just going to look too, well, imposing, I guess, on the rest of the house. And they want something that will kind of blend. Whereas Ed's obviously designed purposely, sympathetic to the house. Whereas he's purposely designed something that will stick out.
The council are very keen that everything fits in and blends into the street scene.
But the reason that we wanted to work with Ed is because we don't want bog standard extension that the rest of the estate has got.
Ed has to scale back his ambition for the exterior so that it's more in keeping with the rest of the estate. Instead of tiles all the way up the facade, there will be brick at the ground floor level. Although being Ed, he's cheekily added a secret door leading to a bike store. He's also had to step the entire first floor back and in from the boundary to make the extension less prominent.
I think we just need to convince them that the overall aesthetic actually is very much in line with the Neighbours. I'm hoping, they are on board and give us permission.
It's another 8 weeks, isn't it, I think, which is a pain.
If we get a refusal, disastrous.
After a further 2 months of waiting, there's feedback on the resubmitted plans.
Finally, we've got it.
So.
Getting approval, fantastic. I'm absolutely thrilled with it. And it means that we can move forward, we can get this thing on the site. And I think it's going to be a very, very cool scheme. So, yeah, really pleased.
So, you're going to have to say bye-bye to all your toys.
Thank you.
To knock 2 weeks off the original 9-week build schedule, the family are moving into rented accommodation.
Things that you don't want to leave behind, that you want to take with you, need to go in this bag. Say bye-bye, house.
With only £60,000 to carry out his ambitious design and autumn on the horizon, Ed's bringing on board a trusted ally.
I think it's a challenge to complete that house within 7 weeks, and I like challenges. Dobrze, panowie, zaczynamy rozwalać ścianę.
Contractor Monika Slowakowska has worked on many projects with Ed, but nothing quite like this.
Ruszamy się. We specialize only in high-end residential projects. This is tiny project.
The first task is to knock down the old extension to make way for Ed's new 2-storey one.
It's quite hard work. I can't do it anymore. But it was fun. It's pretty good the clients aren't here, I think, because a contractor can just get on with things. The client doesn't get involved. If the clients were here, they'd probably be a bit nervous, you know, it's a little bit stressful. But at the moment, the house has been pretty much destroyed.
After just 2 days, the demolition is complete.
Seems to be moving pretty quickly.
Just a big pile of rubble. It looks like a bomb site, doesn't it?
A bomb site, but it needed doing. This is our house now.
Over the next 3 weeks, Monica's team crack on with the construction of the new extension. Foundations are laid.
As soon as the ground starts filling up, the space has become much more apparent.
Walls go up, and steel beams are installed. Ready for Ed's first design feature, a double-height space above the kitchen.
I need to make this space exciting for James and Rachel. It's also the very, very hub of the house.
Ed's taken inspiration from an architectural technique usually seen in far more luxurious homes. A double-height space is an effective way of introducing a sense of spaciousness and light.
By forming a double-height space, which ultimately means you're going to remove a bit of floor, we lose quite a bit of square meterage to that, but it adds that huge, actually really very exciting drama.
Ed's double-height void brings an unexpected feeling of space to such a modest-sized house. It connects the 2 floors and creates room for a large picture window, flooding the kitchen with light.
Do you know what? It's always a really good sign when you've got all this lovely hoarding up and lots of good building noise going on site. And there it is. Something great. It's hard to believe the guys have only been on site for... Oh, this is the end of the 4th week. And look what they've done. Garage has come down, footings in, ground floor walls up, and the roof going on. That's quick. How are you? You well? So good to see you.
And yourself?
Lovely to see you. How are you? This is what it's all about, isn't it?
It is.
A really good, dramatic double-height space. As soon as you start taking that ceiling out, it turns it into something far more dramatic.
Unbelievably good. Amazingly exciting.
But the double-height space won't only be appreciated from the ground floor level.
Come on in, mate. It's a nice glamorous entrance.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah. But this looks great, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And this is your very lovely...
balcony.
Balcony.
A balcony on the first floor takes the drama of the double-height space a step further. It will connect the new building to the old, floor to floor, as well as outside and inside through direct views to the garden.
That is great. You know, you can even see across into the garden through that massive picture window.
Yeah.
And down into the kitchen. And up over the top, really, because it's that great sense of space, isn't it? And coming right over the top.
Right over the top.
So it's following the line of the pitch of the roof. It really turns what would have been something ordinary into something quite extraordinary, I think.
Yeah.
You'll end up doing it next door. So far, this project is on schedule, and it's beginning to deliver the drama that Rachel and James so crave. But so far, they've only seen the outside shape of the building, and it's only when Ed gets to work on the interior colours and finishes that it'll start to feel like a real home. And I suspect that's when Rachel and James's decision-making with Ed will be put to the test. I just hope that they still trust Ed to deliver on what he's promised.
It's over 4 weeks into the transformation of Rachel and James's standard 60s semi in Berkshire. A bold, unconventional extension is taking shape, making a striking contrast to the nearby ranks of identikit homes.
It's a fairly conservative area. It doesn't embrace much that is new and exciting. And I'm not sure how much a go-ahead architect with funky ideas would go down, to be perfectly honest.
But progressive thinking was once at the very heart of this estate. In the 60s, as London recovered from post-war austerity, planners came up with a radical experiment: to build future towns out along the new M4 corridor. These new developments would entice Londoners with a progressive, modern way of life. Ken Gillard and his family were part of this exodus, moving on to Rachel and James's Berkshire estate in 1967.
At that time, the M4 only reached as far as Maidenhead.
The estate offered 4 different house designs, with names evoking a frontier spirit.
Coming into a new estate like this, we were somewhat pioneering a new way of living. Everything was new, everything was an adventure. Everybody in the family loved it. I suppose it gave us the feeling of space, that you were living on the edge of the countryside. The house offered us more than we had dreamed of, really.
"50 years on, and Rachel and James are pioneering their own style of living on this estate. But they're now halfway through the build and living off-site. Juggling busy lives is beginning to dent their enthusiasm.
Okay, boys, so we're going to go and have a look, drive by and see the progress that's been made on the house. Should we have a look and see what's going on?
Hey, is it finished so we can go inside and have a boogie?
Not quite. It's frustrating that even though it's going quickly, we're not there seeing everything that's going on. It's still a long process. Oh, it's horrible out here, boys. Oh, right. Oh, look, you can see the roof. That's freezing, isn't it? And look, they boarded up the windows, but you see the big squares where they're going to put the windows? That's where the big orange windows are going to be.
Orange windows?
Well, the orange window frame.
3 days later, and Ed's windows, one of his boldest design statements, are ready to be installed.
This is for the big window as well, isn't it?
This is the big window.
It's the big one.
And the one thing I've always been intrigued about with this scheme is the colour of the window frames.
Everybody's intrigued by that, including us.
Including us, absolutely. Well, this can be the moment of truth. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Go on, then. Go on.
It's orange. All of it.
Go on,
Just
yeah.
a bit of it.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Oh, look at that. It's really orange. We wanted something different. It's certainly different.
I think it's really cool, to be honest. When you go with an architect, you don't go for ordinary, do you?
No.
And it is bold and it is bright.
And it's big. I mean, the size of that
It's very
window
big.
is
Yeah.
enormous.
Yeah. He's pushing the boundaries with you guys a bit. You know, he's taking you outside of a major comfort zone.
Mm-hmm. We're willing to kind
good
of
compromise
you
battle,
know,
so
go
to
with
speak,
orange
isn't it?
windows.
But-
He's obviously got vision.
It's a nice leafy part of London.
It's lovely, isn't it?
It's very smart.
When you're handing over control of your home to an architect, a bold and playful one at that, it's not surprising that nerves kick in.
So this house is a different period to yours, but it's much more about the internal space. You're getting to that stage now where you're making some key decisions about the inside, aren't you?
Yes.
I've brought Rachel and James to one of Ed's completed projects to show them how his outlandish colours, used sparingly, can be incredibly effective.
So when you come downstairs, you're going to see a real transition between the more traditional architecture upstairs.
Yeah.
It's a very modern down here. A lot of glass, a lot of light. It's staggering, isn't it?
It is amazing.
That's a really nice space, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because this is obviously incredibly white, absolutely everywhere.
It makes it really open and bright, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But as you come back through here, and then you've got this very clever little lighting panel.
Wow. Touchscreen lighting.
Oh, wow.
So you've got LED strip lighting there, you've got it down there. He goes for it.
Yes.
The colours are quite adventurous.
Yeah.
Very cool, isn't it?
Yeah, very, very. I like the colour then in with the white.
What about little details like this in terms of the handrail?
I really like that.
It's quite neat, actually. The light pops on.
I like it.
All nicely integrated.
Nicely recessed.
Into the wall. With an illuminated slot.
Makes a big difference to that yellow, actually, just lighting it, doesn't it?
It's really cool.
There's some very bold colour throughout this house, but it never dominates.
Ed's really trying to get that little touch of colour running all the way through the space. Do you think it works?
The colour works really well, because otherwise I think this would be a little bit plain white box, I think, without that.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
I think we'll have to consider that when we're looking at the palette and the wall spaces we've got.
Yeah.
Back on site, and Ed's here to oversee the 8-foot-high picture window being installed.
About that is the huge sliding door.
He saved over £3,000 by using an off-the-shelf sliding door system instead of custom-built window frames. But it's only worth it if Rachel and James can embrace Ed's colourful vision.
They're looking anxious. I think maybe they're concerned the glass won't fit, or they don't quite like the orange.
1, 2, 3.
It's really good. Absolutely brilliant.
It's really cool. It looks really, really good.
You're right.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah,
It
it works really well. I just love it. It looks awesome.
It's not just windows where bold colour can make a big impact. Architects employ colour as an intrinsic part of a building's design, not just as an aesthetic afterthought. Bold tones can be used to dramatic effect.
I'm very keen to use colour in the kitchen, and we can give that space real excitement and real interest and real drama. Perhaps making just one of the walls a bold colour, and also allows us to highlight objects within the space and actually make the space fun and hopefully raise their mood.
Ed plans to extend his idiosyncratic palette to beyond the kitchen. The new ensuite bathroom pod will be painted the same colour on all sides, so it will appear to hover above the double-height kitchen space, visible as a distinct element within the building.
Do you want to look at these samples?
Yes, that's a good idea. OK, so I think this is all of them.
Ed's letting Rachel and James pick any colour for the bathroom pod, as long as it's pink.
We have some selections of pinks here.
I don't like it. It's like baby pink.
And this is going to be something that we look at quite a lot, because you'll be standing at the kitchen sink and there'll be the pink thing up here.
Definitely not that one. That's horrible. Don't like it. I don't know if I can take that pink step. But, you know, he's been kind of right about the colours and things so far. It's scary to be different. We're either going to have to say, OK, he knows what he's talking about, or no pink.
With the end of the build in sight, Rachel and James need to make their minds up fast. But first, there's something I want to ask Ed.
Can I ask a question? Why pink?
I like pink. And it's soft, and actually the space is quite square and angular. Pink will just soften the space.
So it's a big decision. This seems to be the one that you really... I'd go beyond, say, feel nervous about, that you probably don't like it.
Standing here now and seeing that and realising quite how much it will project the colour into here just caused us to question a little bit whether actually pink's the right colour for that.
Wherever you stand, it's going to be in your eye.
I think paint is the one thing you can have a bit of fun with, because actually if you don't like it, you just stick another layer of paint on top. But I've also offered to paint that myself if the pink doesn't work. So we'll stand there and we'll say, all right, let's make it green.
This pink space. Do you trust your architect, as you have many times before?
No, and he's made some good decisions.
And so we trust our architect.
With a week to go, the pink's going up on all sides of the pod. Rachel and James have chosen the palest possible shade.
This wall is pink. The side is going to be pink. The dressing room door is going to be pink. So basically everything on the pod is pink on the outside.
OK.
And then I think we should just paint this wall black, actually.
OK.
But their choice of lighting is much more adventurous.
It's cool, isn't it? Do you like that?
Yeah, it's very good.
And also it's a lightsaber.
Rachel and James are due to move in a few days, so Monica's got her work cut out to finish the house on time.
We don't want to put the client in inconvenient position of not being able to use the house and move in. I'm trying to be flexible, which means I have to push guys to work overtime, add more people on site, try to complete it on time.
Well,
What's wrong?
that's a lot to do.
Yeah. They are working really, really quick, but maybe it's not going to be ready. You know, if it's not ready, it's not ready. I just don't want it to be rushed.
In Berkshire, Rachel and James have finally moved back into their home on this 1960s estate.
When I first met Rachel and James, it was clear that they were frustrated by living in a bland, homogeneous, semi-detached box that didn't reflect their personality.
On the outside, it was the same as hundreds of houses on the estate. Same brickwork, same cladding, same windows. The only thing that marked it as different was its oddly positioned two front doors.
For a budget of just £60,000, their architect, Ed, hoped to transform Rachel and James's lives by refashioning their old house to give them something dramatic, but also give them the extra space their family needed. It was a really ambitious brief. I'm about to see if Ed's pulled it off. There it is. All done, all finished. In so many ways, it's quite modest and quite discreet in its scale. Obviously very new compared to the old house. But one thing that does jump out is those orange windows.
Ed's new extension is a clever new addition that's given the house personality and yet sits well on the street.
Good morning. Hi. How are you? So nice to see you. Hello, mate. How are you?
Hello, George. How are you?
Come on out. Let's have a look.
Thank you.
What a difference, eh? You have done it.
It's just so much more exciting. You know, you kind of pull up in the car and it's kind of as if someone's kind of lifted our house out and put a new one in its place.
Are you proud of it?
Yeah, I'm really proud of it.
And we were very keen going into the project. We wanted something different, and we've certainly managed to achieve that.
The windows and everything, it just looks nice.
It's a little hint, isn't it? It's a little sign that
Well,
this is not an ordinary house. Well, it's, yeah, a very big, bright orange hint. But it is a hint that you've done something different. And now you've got one very beautiful front door.
Yeah.
We do. We haven't quite relinquished the two doors, though.
Oh, because you're at your hidden door?
Yeah.
See, I think that's quite a cool little touch, actually.
So we still have that.
It's nice, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Really frees up the rest of the house, doesn't it?
It does.
It's a really nice touch. I like that a lot, actually. But the inside is where all the magic happens, isn't it?
It is, definitely.
Should we go inside and have a look? Come on, lead the way. Just through the one door.
Rachel and James were fast outgrowing their cramped three-bed house. A poor layout meant that rooms led onto one another, like one long corridor, creating a lack of family and private space.
Okay, so
into the hallway.
What a difference in this hallway.
I know.
That's brilliant.
It's fantastic. Every home, you want a sense of entrance. You want to feel nice and welcome.
Now you come in, it feels light and airy, and it draws you in to the back of the house, which is the main living area.
And the other lovely thing is you can see right through to the garden.
Yes. I think for me, this is one of the nicest parts of the house now. It's just a wonderful space. It's like a welcoming hallway.
I can just see there in the snug, on the back wall, a very bold, deep, rich blue.
Yeah, it's lovely.
It's worked so well.
That's going to make a big difference to family life, isn't it, having a little separate snug like that?
Yeah.
Should we go through and see the rest? Come on, lead the way.
At the back, by removing the two internal walls, their architect Ed has created a large living space that runs the entire width of the old house and into the new extension.
What a transformation. This is really nice, isn't it? You know, what's really good about this is that you've just made a few small changes, really, that have completely transformed the way the space works.
It's kind of the maximum width of the house that you could possibly have, and it just makes it feel so much bigger. This is just very much more open. And
we've ended up with a kitchen, dining, and a little bit of living space, and it just works really, really well.
But it's in the new extension where the biggest change to this house happens. Its beautiful, bold double-height kitchen and mezzanine.
This space, there are no words, are there? I mean, it is just stunning. I mean, just imagine what this kitchen space would feel like if you had a flat ceiling running all the way through there. It wouldn't have anything like the impact it's got now.
We've lost on the first floor that space, and you sort of have to trust that it's going to work, and absolutely it has. Really, really works very well.
It's fantastic. And I love the lights. The lights are so cool.
they are very cool. It just kind of fills you with enthusiasm for life, really, doesn't it?
It makes us want to cook more.
Yeah, it makes you want to kind of have people over and sit and, you know, be able to have some dinner parties, and it's just so cool and funky and exactly what we wanted, really.
Is it?
Yeah, it's kind of fulfilled our dreams, really.
Before, it didn't quite feel like it was us. It was always making do with what was there, whereas this absolutely feels like us. It's brilliant.
The only thing I need to pick up on, though, pink.
I know.
Pink on the walls. Yes or no, do you like it?
Do I like it on its own? Absolutely not. No. So while I can sort of maybe just about live with it here, what it does in the bedroom.
Have you got a pink bedroom? Have you got a pink bedroom?
Yes.
That is brilliant. You're going to get so much stick off your mates. So can we go upstairs? I want to see your pink bedroom.
OK.
On the first floor of the new extension, Ed's created a new 4th bedroom and a balcony overlooking the kitchen.
Oh, I like this detail at the top. That's lovely, that. So you can kind of go left or right.
Yep.
That's really smart.
It's excellent.
And then this is your, what do you call this? Balcony? View and gallery?
Balcony.
Balcony. I think you need to get some minstrels up here playing some instruments. This is what makes it a magical extension on the house.
Everything just works together. It's really good.
I think it's the most fantastic space.
The pink wall wraps around the ensuite bathroom pod into the new bedroom. By leaving the brickwork exposed and taking the ceiling to the top of the roof, Ed's given this modest-sized space a touch of luxury and urban cool.
I'm assuming it's just a little hint of pink.
It's a hint, yes. Quite standard.
It's a big hint.
Do you know what? It's not as bad as in here, is it, really? I mean, does this now give you the opportunity to get people to stay over?
Yeah, because that was one of our problems before. We have family who live too far where they have to stay with us when they want to visit, and now we have 2 extra double bedrooms.
Which is fantastic, actually.
Yeah.
It's really, really good.
The extension may be modest, but it's delivered what Rachel and James need. And outside at the back, it's a stunning architectural addition to the house.
So what do you think of the back of it on the outside?
I like the way that at the back we've brought the tiles all the way down, around the window. It works really, really well.
I love how you can look through the window and you can see all those little bits inside, the little bit of balcony and the kitchen and the lights. I love it.
You were inspired a lot from your travels and being abroad for a while and things like that. And you had preconceived ideas in your head about what you liked.
Yeah.
You liked contemporary, modern, spacious design. Yes. Did you ever think you'd have something like this on this house?
Not on this house at all, no. It's delivered tenfold what we expected. It's absolutely amazing.
It's thanks to their architect, Ed, that this clever, discreet extension has given their 1960s home a new lease of life.
Hi.
Hello. Hi. How you doing?
How are you?
Good. Wow, look
Very
at
well.
this. It's amazing.
I know.
Let me come through. Wow.
And for the family, it's a chance to stay in the neighbourhood they love, while enjoying a totally new way of living.
What's it like working with an architect?
We had our moments.
Mm.
You know.
They were good moments.
At times.
I think those moments were definitely colourful.
I mean, what our problem has been, what our challenge has been, is Ed has always had a very clear vision for what he was trying to achieve, and we aren't used to that. It's very difficult for us to try and sort of picture what that would be. So it's been a really interesting, yes, challenging, but certainly a process that we'd recommend. I mean, it's what we have ended up with is absolutely stunning.
Ed, at the beginning of all of this, your ambition was to change the way that these guys lived.
I think we've done that. There's that hint of design, creativity on the front, and then it's at the back. I'm really, really pleased at the back. I think the space is fantastic and the rear elevation looks great.
But all of that comes at a price, unfortunately. Your original budget was £60,000?
It was, yes.
What have you ended up spending in the end?
We allowed 75 with a bit of contingency. We've ended up spending just north of 90, but have far more than we originally set out to within that sort of 60, 75.
15 grand is still a chunk of money.
There have been points where we've sort of sat there and gone, actually, are we going to be able to afford this? And there's going to be tightening of belts in other ways, absolutely, but it's worth it. Worth every penny.
To go through that process, to come out with something like this, totally worth it.
You know, we're really looking forward to using the space and living in it and just really appreciating it. Can't wait, really. Brilliant.
I think Ed's been brilliant in pushing you and challenging you, and you've been brave enough, I think, to say yes to a lot of things that many people wouldn't say yes to. And I think the result is in what's here, what's being built. You know, Rachel and James were brave enough to dream of living in a home that was different, something that's unique to truly express who they are. And do you know what? Ed's scheme delivers that brilliantly. He's given them something which is original and distinctive. Ed's managed to create spaces that will truly transform the way that Rachel and James live in this home for many years to come. And that's what good architecture is all about.